Dominic Biatis with Martial Arts Unleashed, here with Jared, the Monkey God Brooks. How are you doing today, brother?
Good, man. I just got off practice, got a good meal in me, so I'm super happy.
Awesome. And I know you're fighting coming up here on January 28th for one championship at Only the Brave. So how's training camp been going for you so far?
It's good, man. I got a plethora of people that I've been training with. Got, John Combs. He's ranked eighth in the world in combat jujitsu at 170. Got Alex Hody. He's one of the best jujitsu practitioners in the world. Got Detroit Jiu-Jitsu. They're one of the best jiu-jitsu gyms in the world as well. As far as striking, I got Austin Bashi. He's an up-and-coming fighter as well. He's in XFC. He's only 21 years old, so I would keep my eye out on him for sure. And got my boy Justin Scoggins as well. Justin's one of the best strikers in the world. So yeah, man, like I said, I got a plethora of people that I've been working with. My strength conditioning coach, Guy Monarch, he's probably, second to none in as far as being the best conditioning coaches and knowing what it takes to condition fighters.
And I know you're coming off of a really strong win in your one championship debut. Was there any changes to your approach for this fight, or was it just more of the same?
I would say, yeah, because you got Hiroba. Hiroba is more of a grappler, I would say. He did show his hands against Alex Silva a little bit in his last fight, but it wasn't like it was just straight hands. It was more of him defending. He's really good at defending submissions. I don't know how he is as far as putting on submissions. I know that he floats on top pretty well, and he likes to stay on top. That's pretty much his game. It's pretty similar to mine, but I'm a little bit more I would say, I don't know the words to put it as. I'm a little more seasoned as far as being a mixed martial artist. He's a young kid. He does have a good MMA IQ, but besides that, he's not as strong as me, and he doesn't have the capabilities in his tool belt like I do.
Hmm. And for a lot of our martial arts fans who may not be very into MMA or into the whole mixed martial arts world, could you, in your words, just describe how important it is not only having a solid training camp, but like you were describing, a really solid team around you to build you up for these big time fights?
Yeah, my main coach, James Lee, he's just put all of these people in front of me, and it's a true blessing. It's very hard to find people that can stick to your game and only want to work on your game and be around you. So yeah, I have a very strong team underneath me, and that it's super important as far as if you are an up and coming mixed martial artist. I wouldn't say stick to one gym, one person. Uh, go out and go out and fight some of the best in the world. So when it is time to fight in the big show, that you're ready.
And now I kind of want to take a step back and take a look at your early career and kind of your growth into where you're at now. So I know you got started with high school wrestling, and I wanted to see kind of how that had influenced you from an early age into more combat sports.
Well, I actually started in combat sports at a very, very young age. I was more of doing jujitsu and boxing, when I was about 6 and 7. I was watching Kevin Randleman and Boss Root and all those guys before I could walk. So I had those guys to look up to, and it's pretty much just spring or slingshotted me into the plethoras that I wanted to be like. So so yeah, I've been a lifetime mixed martial artist. I would say. I wouldn't say wrestling did. It helps. It definitely helped with me getting my base down for sure. But yeah, I've done mixed martial arts my whole life, and I got to thank my dad for that.
So that leads perfectly to my next question. Kind of what Was it your dad who really brought you into like the world of MMA and like you were saying, watching Kevin Randleman and those folks fight in the early days? Uh, what was it like growing up with these high level fights on TV?
They weren't on TV. My dad was just a huge fan. My dad was a street fighter. So my whole family actually, we're actually known in our hometown as people not to mess with for sure. If you want to get into a street brawl, we aren't going to stop until that person's going to be done. I wouldn't say that I have the same type of here. Wait, you got something going on, do you?
Yeah. How's that looking?
Oh yeah, that's good.
Alrighty. Yeah, I
So
was trying out a new camera and just decided not to work today. So
you're good.
yeah.
But yeah, I would say, our whole family in our hometown, yeah, we aren't really people to mess with. I wouldn't say that I was looking for street fights like my dad and my uncles and my great uncle, but it definitely gave me some leverage into fighting for sure. And my dad, he would have VHS tapes, and we would just watch those tapes. The old um, fights with like Vanderlei and stuff like that. One of my up and coming, like when I was really young, one of my coaches, Dennis Minnix, he is a wizard of the game. I would probably compare him to like Matt Hume. Matt Hume is like the wizard of MMA, showed Demetrius Johnson pretty much the ropes. I would say that Dennis is one of those people that really pushed me in making me want to become a mixed martial artist and take it really serious. I thought I was just gonna go to law school, be a regular Joe Blow, but then I got involved into this sport, and I've been fighting in the cage since I was 14 years old. So it's definitely a blessing that God put these people in front of me, and that I could just show that at a very young age, and grow maturity at a young age.
And how has that helped being able to start so early in your life being around martial arts?
I would say that it's not really a physical thing anymore. It's all mental. So, mental preparation is the key at the end of the day, and it only takes time for that to accumulate. So when you're mentally prepared and what's gonna come before it comes, then yeah, your physicality doesn't really come into play besides you punching people. But it's definitely really helped throughout the process of just being young and getting punched in the face at a young age, and learning how to take a punch, and learning all of the tools that are necessary to become a champion.
And as you said, you had started fighting at the age of 14. Would you like to describe for our viewers kind of the feelings that you had when you had that first time, like, oh my God, I'm going to have to go in here and fight somebody?
Yeah, it was actually at one of my uncle's shows. He's like I call him my uncle, but he was more of like a cousin uncle. It's like kind of a weird situation, but he threw a show at Brands Harley Davidson, and I was going against like a 27-year-old. And, my dad had a lot of confidence that I could just, go in and beat this dude. And I unfortunately lost my first fight when I was 14, and I never wanted to do it again. I was like, dude, I'm not fighting. This sport isn't for me. And my dad just looks back in the back seat with his friend in the front seat, and he's just like, you fucking pussy. And so I was like, all right, well, maybe I should fight again and see how it goes. And I ended up fighting that guy like 2 years later when I was 16, and choked him out in the first round. So luckily my dad is just, like I said, he's pushed me into those. He didn't really necessarily push me, but he was just like, dude, you're too good not to fight, and he knew it at a young age. And I thought that I was, a 30-year-old when I was 14. I thought I was Tito Ortiz. I thought I was Kevin Randleman, so it really helped with that first loss, because I didn't lose besides that first loss till Davis and Figueiredo, the UFC champion. So
And kind of wanted to fast forward a little bit to 2015 when you actually got to win your first big belt. And what was the emotions being able to say that I'm a champion of a promotion?
oh man, I had a lot. I had more belts than that in 2015 for sure. I had like a regional wise. I had
Mhm.
like me and my brother accumulated like 20 belts altogether. So that's another thing. My brother he's a better fighter than me. He just didn't decide to go with it because he's super smart and intellectual, and now he works with computers and stuff like that. But yeah, he was a bully to me my whole life. So it pretty much made me want to get better and want to beat him. So, but
A little bit
I
of
don't know to this day if I can beat Justin.
it's that little bit of sibling rivalry gets to keep fueling you on, right?
Oh yeah, he's 3 years older than me. There was a time to where I was catching up, like when he was like 12 and I was 9, to where we would get into it if our dad was around us or anything like that. You know how it is if the coach or somebody comes in when we're usually just nice and relaxed drilling and stuff, then dad comes in, well, we're gonna have to beat each other up now. So that's pretty much how I came into fighting, man.
And I know before signing with the UFC, you got a chance to go fight in Tokyo. And what was that like from somebody from the Midwest here in the States to then go out and fight in Tokyo?
Yeah, I went and fought for a World Series of Fighting, and then I went to Russia and fought in Russia for Akhmat, and then I fought for Pancrase, which Pancrase was probably one of my favorite moments in Japan for sure, because it wasn't like there was a lot of fans or anything like that, but it was just a super cool experience, just getting to know all of the people interviewing me, and how things are structured. And Pancrase is one of the first mixed martial arts promotion in Japan. So Boss Rudin, he was the king of Pancrase when I was watching him when I was like 3 years old. So yeah, that was definitely a blessing in disguise, and it showed me the ropes and how to get to bigger promotions.
And speaking of bigger promotions, what was it like to get that call from the UFC and be able to sign that entry contract to be able to fight for a big time promotion?
I wish that I could have waited a couple more years. If I would have waited like 2 or 3 more years, I promise you I'd be the champion right now. Which I'm not really worried about that, because I got another great promotion that I'm fighting in, and that I know I can be a champion in as well. But the UFC at that point in time was the biggest promotion, and I was super young, was super green to that new environment. But yeah, like my only losses are me knocking myself out and Davis and Figueiredo. And he's fighting next weekend for a UFC title. So, but it's a huge learning experience. I can't thank the UFC enough for even having me in there and picking me to go against some of the best in the world.
And I know you had mentioned a little bit earlier and bringing up that loss to Davis and Figueiredo, and that being your first loss or second loss compared to the one when you were 14. So what was it like mentally to have to bounce back from that and say, okay, I'm kind of down, took an L. How do I bounce back from here?
Yeah, it was a really hard L too, because I thought I beat him and everybody else thought I beat him. And we were actually gonna go to the athletic commissions and try to recall the match and make it a draw maybe, because I thought I dominated Davis and Figueiredo, but it definitely was put a sour taste in my mouth at first, and I was just like, man, am I really? Because I didn't know that Davison was really capable of the things that he was doing at that time. Because I thought I beat him pretty good and he didn't even really hit me. And then after that, he's knocking everybody out. He's choking everybody out. And then I'm like, oh, well, I mean, maybe he's better than I thought. but it was tough to take that L. It was tougher to even knock myself out. It was like I had a demon over my shoulder or something like that. It was a really really rough time, but we got over it, man. It's all about trial and error and just trying to find the fine tunings into to being the best me possible.
And I know after a 2-2 record in the UFC, you were unfortunately let go at a very young age. So with those mounting adversities, what was it like to be able to then go to Ryzen and do not only a Ryzen show, but the Ryzen and Bellator cross promotional show, and just say, okay, I'm here. I am Jared Brooks. This is who I am as a fighter.
Yeah, I was talking a lot of trash and things that I really didn't find truths. Like when I talk trash now, I try to find the inner truths of how I can portray that and still be like, you're not bullshitting yourself, you know. So
Mhm.
when I went to Ryzen and I seen how their organization was run and the people I was going against, it did show me a lot more about respect and honor and discipline, the things that everybody has been telling me this whole time. And so when I did fight for Ryzen and Bellator, it was like a key that unlocked my head to where I found myself a little bit more. But then unfortunately, Corona came and I wasn't able to fight for 2 years. I was working at a dispensary. I actually still work at a dispensary to this day. But yeah, I mean that 2 years off really, it didn't hinder me at all. It actually made me a better person, and it made me a better fighter, in my opinion, because it made me miss it. I've been doing it for so long that I forgot what it was like to have a real regular life. So when I seen that regular life, it's like, damn, this is something I actually don't want. I don't want a regular life. I want to be a fighter, So it made me super hungry. And then I got the call from one, and that's what made me super ecstatic. It made me super, super like, all right, we need to dig and grind. You're 28 now, so you're almost in your prime years. So you gotta really do the things that are necessary and right in order to be the champion, which I know I was born to be. I know Team McKay and all those guys say that champions aren't born; they're made. But you can be a champion when you were born and still make yourself a champion as well.
So in those 2 years off that you had during this the coronavirus layover, what were some really important lessons that you drew from there? I know you mentioned a little bit of seeing what the normal life is or the average person's life is and just not liking it. Kind of what was going through your head through that whole time?
It's not like it's a normal, like I'm so different, I'm a superhero kind of deal. No, it wasn't anything like that. It was just I working a regular 9 to 5, man. That can really hinder your spirit. And watching Davis and Figueiredo just run through everybody while I'm just sitting there selling people weed, and I'm like, dude, what am I doing? Like it felt like I was in a form of purgatory. You know, I'm seeing him. He's the man. He's growing, 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 and I felt like I was just straight flat in the middle. So it was super tough, but getting over that was the biggest key. Just making sure I can still be happy living at a 9 to 5 lifestyle and still be able to train, because training is the best form of meditation that got me away from that toxicity that was going on in my head.
And it must have felt really great then when you got to come off of this big layover and come out with a huge submission win in your debut.
Yeah, Lito Adewang, I have the utmost respect for that guy. That guy is he has super fans, like crazy fans, and he's amazing on his feet. He can hit like a truck. I think it's pretty much gonna be like the Cyril Gane and the Francis Ngannou fight. Francis Ngannou is just super powerful, But in order for Citril Gang to beat Francis Ngannou, he's got to play with his strengths and not Francis's strengths. So if you try to go punch for Lito Adewang, I promise you, it's not going to be good. But yeah, I had a smart approach to it, and had a great training camp, great training partners, and I had a great solid family foundation underneath me. So yeah, it made me ecstatic when I won. As you can see after the fight, I was going crazy. But yeah, I'm just looking forward to the future, man. In whatever one wants to put me in, I'm completely malleable. If you want to promote me this way, I'm gonna do it. And as far as Cage, that just speaks for itself. I'm gonna do the speaking there.
And I know that's a really underrated part of an MMA fighter's game, where you can be as good as you can in the ring, but if you don't have some kind of personality or some kind of just like interest as a person, then it doesn't really sell. You might not sell tickets. So for you, is it more of like a natural, like, this is just who I am? This is Jared Brooks whenever I step on the microphone or step into a camera for an interview? Or does it take some practice learning how to do all of that?
When I first started, like I said, when I was just starting in the UFC or right before the UFC, and I felt that, little hint of stardom a little bit, I kind of got overzealous, and I started, like I said, not speaking the truths that I felt like were true to me. So now I feel like I got that down and packed to where, I can still talk trash, but they're my truths. And it's easy for me to speak my truths, and it's easy for me to, define people's chinks in armor and call them out. And it makes them be like self-conscious. And as soon as somebody mentions a chink in my armor or something like that, I'm just like, I've been there, done that. It's not like it's anything new to me. I know the things, the chinks in my armor. And if you call them out, I'll be like, yeah, I already know, But to a lot of other people, if you put out their chinks in their armor, then they're like, oh man, like he really gets me, So yeah, it's definitely a great, and it was a humbling experience just to realize how I can speak my truths and still, be on that trash talking vibe.
And along with that, another really important part of a fighter's game that you had mentioned a little bit before is mental preparedness and being just mentally engaged and tough enough to go into a ring. So for you, as you train your body, how do you also train your mind and your spirit to be able to go into a ring and fight for 3 to 5 rounds?
It's hard to explain that because it's a natural thing. It's just something that I've done my whole life, just being mentally prepared. I don't know if it's a form of PTSD from my brother or dad, or, the people that I grew up with, just beating my ass constantly and just getting in my head and, making me feel like the lowest of the low almost, to where, like nothing can hurt me. Nothing can mentally break me at that point. So at the end of the day, it's all about, the things that you've been through and the natural process of what God gives you. So I can't thank God enough for the way that he's put me in hell holes and making me climb out to where I'm, I feel like I'm indestructible as far as my mind. As far as my body, I don't know, but my mind, I feel like nothing can mess me up as far as mental warfare.
And you've had a very interesting and long road, but how does it feel now to have seemed to find your home in MMA in Singapore, of all places?
Yeah, Singapore is, I haven't really got to go inside of the country really, because I've been locked in my room the whole time. And in this fight, they shut down the country as well. So now I'm just stuck in the room the whole time, like it's like a prison. But it's like the best thing that you can do before a fight. There's no distractions. There's nothing that can, pull you away from the fight. You're just constantly in that room. You're just either doing push-ups, they feed you at a certain time. You know what I'm saying? It's like you're a literal like animal about to be unleashed going into the octagon. So I kind of like it, to be honest. My coach doesn't because he loves his freedom and he loves exploring. But personally, I absolutely love it. It puts me in a great mindset before the fight.
Okay. I mean, nothing like a caged animal going out into a ring. I mean, that sounds like brutal. Just sounds like you're just ready for war at that point.
Yeah, I got there like a day and a half before my fight last time because you had to get a COVID vaccination.
Mhm.
So it took 2 weeks for the vaccination to actually like, get into your stream or whatever. So, so yeah, I got, usually I'm going tomorrow to Singapore. That's about 5 to 6 days out, which is great. But yeah, I went there to fight Lito a day and a half. I got a day and a half to acclimate and it was pretty tough. But in that day and a half, it felt like days because you were just stuck in that room and you're just thinking about the fight the whole time. So time went by a little bit slower.
And I know one has just been promoting itself as the ultimate stage for Asian martial arts. So for you getting to represent the U.S. and getting to represent not only the U.S. but Middle America, the Midwest, fighting out of Detroit, how does it feel getting to just represent this country overseas like that?
Yeah, man, I think that it speaks volumes that they would want me in like a little guy in a weight class to where they are Asian premier, but they are bringing one to the United States as well. So that's something I am looking forward to where I don't have to travel. I don't have to, at the 3 hour plane ride. Okay. I, I just went on a 28-hour flight, my last fight. So I would definitely, they call it one for a reason. I think that they're going to just build everything into one. And I think that they have unlimited cash flow from Singapore. So I think they're going to be bigger than the UFC very soon. And I think that that Dana is kind of pooping in his pants a little bit as far as like the Demetrius and Rodtang fight too, man. Like that has never been done in mixed martial arts history. And we got, jiu-jitsu matches, we have Muay Thai matches, we have kickboxing matches, and you don't see that anywhere else in the world. And then when we bring that into the United States, people will start to actually realize, and as far as the weight cuts too, you aren't seeing people get brain damage as much as far as cutting weight and people having kidney issues and not being able to stay at a weight class and be a champion, So right now I feel like the UFC is in like a Jake Paul kind of stage compared to, the real mixed martial arts promotion of one championship and not a dig against the UFC. I fought in UFC. It's a great promotion. They promote extremely well. But you have one championships that's coming on the rise, man. You have like they just got Gary Tonin, they got Gordon Ryan, they got I forget that the other Brazilian's name that's in jiu-jitsu, but that guy is absolutely ridiculous as well. But I know that they're not going to stop until they are bigger than the UFC. And when we get into the United States, it's gonna be neck and neck, man. I promise you that.
And how big for you is it knowing that Chatri announced the $50,000 fight of the night bonuses as well?
Man, I really wish I could have got that against Lito Adewang, man. And Lito is like their biggest star in the promotion, and the way I did him, I mean, I think I deserved that 50,000, but I'm hunting for it, man. Hunt Chatri, I'm coming for that 50,000, and promotion wise, I think that you're not going to find another fighter that can promote like me. You have a bunch of fighters kicking watermelons and stuff like that, and doing a bunch of cool mitt stuff. But yeah, watching the next like few days, man, and you'll see why I'm the best promotional fighter in one.
You know what? I'm really looking forward to it, and I'm looking forward to some good old fashioned blue blood American going out there and beating some ass. So
That's how we do, baby.
So that's all the questions I had for you today. So if you have any other shout outs you want to do, anything you want to let the people know you're doing, go ahead and take this time.
Yeah, I just want to thank Chatri. I want to thank Matt Hume, Rich Franklin. Thank you for interviewing me. I want to thank my team, James Lee's Match Fight team. Got Detroit Jiu Jitsu, got Roost Jiu Jitsu, various places. Coach Glove. Glove is like one of the, I don't know if you know Kronk boxing, like the old Kronk where, you got Tommy Hearns, you got Klitschko, you got, the old heads out of Detroit that were the men in 1970. I'm getting coached boxing by, one of the best boxing coaches, Johnny Glove. So shout out to him. Shout out to my family, my mom, my dad, everybody that's been on this journey with me. I really appreciate all the love and all the support that's been handed to me through God. So yeah, that's pretty much all I got.
Awesome. Well, thank you again for taking out the time of your day to talk to me. And I'm looking forward to seeing you fight January 28th for one championship.
Anytime, man. I appreciate you. And yeah, anytime you want to hit me up, brother, I'm here.
Of course.
Thanks so much for watching. We spend a lot of time putting these videos together. So if you like what you saw, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. And give this video a like and to share to anybody you think might like it. And if you have any thoughts or suggestions on the video, go ahead and leave a comment. We make sure to read them all. Thanks, and see you next time.